You ask AI to build a login page. It hands you something like this. And you're like, what's this fetch API thing? Is that where the magic lives? Spoiler, yes. You might have seen this on web projects, heard it mentioned in automation tools like AAN, been asked about it in an interview, or spotted it in a developer's group chat. Whatever the case, it's called a REST API, and if you don't know what it is, here's the essential concept. When a front end, the code running in your browser needs data, it shouldn't just peek directly into the database. It's a much better and more secure approach to lock the database behind a backend server. So, the front end now needs to talk to the back end, but how do they communicate? This is where the REST API comes in. REST is the mechanism that developers use to make the front end and the back end communicate. The front end doesn't just say, yo, back end, give me the list of users, and the back end doesn't just reply, here you go, bro. Instead, here's how it actually works. On the back end, you define several routes like user, product, order, account, and so on. The front end then accesses each route using an appropriate request type. These types are get, post, put, and delete. That's basically CRUD. Create, read, update, delete. These aren't the only ones, but they are the four horsemen of web development. Crucially, it's your job as the backend developer to make each route accept the right kind of request and define what happens next. For example, when the user route gets a post request from the front end, we define the logic to fetch a user from the database, compare it with the login data provided by the front end, and then respond with an access token to allow the user to access other routes after a successful login. So, this code snippet you see is calling the backend for login access with this input data using a post request, which is served on the user route. The backend then responds with the data, which is just structured text your front end can actually read and use. Okay, theory is cool, but how do you actually make one of these REST APIs? Well, you don't reinvent the wheel. Frameworks do the heavy lifting. For example, in JavaScript land, it's Express.js, Fastify, or Nest.js. Python fans? Flask and Django. Java? Spring Boot. Even Rust, Go, or .NET have their own REST frameworks. Basically, pick your weapon, define your routes, and boom, you've got an API. But here's the plot twist. REST isn't the only game in town. You'll also hear about GraphQL, the make-your-own query buffets version of APIs, or gRPC, the super-fast binary cousin. But REST? It's still the standard language most developers speak. So, next time AI hands you some code like this, you'll know what's actually happening. Your front end is making a request, your back end responds, and REST is the rulebook that keeps them in sync. Whether you're using Express, Flask, or some shiny alternative, this is the foundation of how modern apps talk. Learn it, use it, and you won't look clueless in front of the AI. Hear me out. On this channel, I'll be sharing the concepts and tools that I consider milestones in my own development and career journey as a developer, from basic ideas all the way to advanced techniques. If that sounds interesting, hit like and subscribe.